Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Yummy Arts Kitchen. Yay! Today we're very happy to present Monika Stout. Yay! And wait till you see what she's got in store for us. A gingerbread luminary. Take it away, Monika.
Hello, I'm Monika Stout for Yummy Arts, and this morning I'm going to teach you how to make gingerbread luminarias. And basically we're going to be using gingerbread, which I've got all chilled and ready to go. We've got our cookie sheet with our Silpat. I've got some forms that I'm going to show you how to make. We've got the candy that we're going to fill it with, and royal icing, and we're going to put it all together. So what we're going to do, the first thing you want to do is you want to decide what size you want your luminaria. And I've made a hexagon. You can do squares, triangles, rectangles, octagons, whatever shape you want. But I did a hexagon, so I printed it out, and that's the size it's going to be. And then I also wanted to see, I needed a template for my sides. So I measured the sides, which are, my sides are about 4 1/8, and I decided I wanted about 7.5 inches tall. So I cut this out. Now what I do is I want to use a template, and I have one that I want to use every year. You can make yourself a cookie cutter that is this square, but that takes up a lot of space. So what I do is I buy these plastic folders that you can get at the office supply store, and I cut pieces out of this because it is strong enough to hold its shape. It slides into my cookie drawer, doesn't take up a lot of space, and it doesn't warp or anything with the heat. So I've cut my template out to the size that I want my sides, and now we're going to start rolling out our dough.
And how much do those folders usually run?
You know, they're cheap. You can get a box of 10 for like $4 or $5.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
And so, you know, you can use them in your office, and you can also use them to bake templates.
Can't really use them in the office after you've used them.
No, once you've used them, and then it becomes a template for gingerbread luminarias forever.
Nice.
So I'm going to roll out my gingerbread dough. This is just really any kind of recipe you have for gingerbread. You can use any of the recipes you have. Nothing special about it. Just a regular gingerbread cookie recipe. So I'm going to roll it out. So I put my green square here, and I'm going to cut it to size like this. Take my pieces off. And you want to do this on a Silpat because we're going to be putting the candy in there that makes the stained glass for the luminaria. And if you were to do it on any other kind of cookie sheet, it really, really is sticky, and the candy doesn't release.
So a Silpat is the kind of mat that you're on right now?
Yes, it's this mat right here.
That's actually a brand name, a Silpat mat.
Yes, it's a Silpat mat is a brand name. It's basically a silicone mat.
Okay.
And so you just want to be able to do it on a silicone mat because you want the candy not to stick. So I've got my template, and now I'm going to take a cookie cutter, and I'm using a star, and I'm going to cut my shape, and I'm giving it a little bit of a twist because I want to make the hole a little bit bigger. The thing about these luminarias, because it's gingerbread, you can't use a really, really tiny cookie cutter, really fine details, because it's going to fill in. So I like to use a bigger detail. So I'm going to do this star, and I'm going to take the piece of the star out.
And how thick would you say that gingerbread is?
I would say it's about 3/8 of an inch. So between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. You want it to be able to stand and have good structure. So I would definitely do it at least 1/8 of an inch, but probably more like 3/16. So I'm going to take out my star shape, clean the hole out a little bit. And now I have taken, the candy I like to use is Jolly Ranchers because they've got a nice clear color. And so I get Jolly Ranchers, and I just break them up with my meat mallet, my meat hammer, and that breaks it all up. And then you're going to take it and you're going to fill your holes before you bake. So I'm going to go ahead and fill all the holes in with my Jolly Rancher, and you don't want it to be over the edge. You want it to be inside the hole because if you have any on your gingerbread, it's going to melt and make a little, you'll be able to see that. So you want to make sure you're only inside your little holes that you've made, and if you get any on there, just brush it off. And you want to fill the entire thing. You want to make sure you've got a little bit of candy in each little corner, and you also want to build it up in the middle. Because this kind of melts and sinks in, if you make it really even, the candy really even across the top, it's going to sink in and give you kind of a divot. And we don't want that. We want it to be nice and even and smooth and to make a really pretty stained glass.